best views of the whole ground, okay?
What about up there?
What's that?
What about up
Yeah, well, there's lots of good views, but I like this one a lot as well, alright? It's one of my favourite views. Yeah, so while we're here, I'll tell you a little bit about the history of the club, okay? Stamford Bridge was first built as an athletic stadium in the 1870s, okay? And it was only in 1905 the two owners, the Mears brothers, decided that athletics wasn't making enough money, so they decided to convert it into a football stadium. Because football was popular, especially in the north of England at that time. So they had a football stadium here, right in the centre of London. And so they had this fantastic stadium. It was a huge stadium for London, or for England at that time. It was around 80,000 people could fit in it. And they said, but they didn't have a team to play. So they rang up Fulham, you know Fulham at Craven Cottage down the road. And they said to Fulham, would you like to come and play at Stamford Bridge, this new ground? And Fulham said no, they turned us down, okay? And because if they did that, they resigned themselves to be a little team down the road forever, okay? And the Mears brothers said, fine, we'll create a new team, our own team. And they got 11 players. They got a man called John Tate Robertson from Scotland. And because he was Scottish, he said, right, this new team's going to play in blue, because I was from Scotland, we didn't have a colour to play in, obviously, so that's why Chelsea play in blue. But the next thing they needed was a name for the team. Okay, we're actually in Fulham here. This is in the Fulham part of London. It's not in Chelsea. Yeah, that's right. We're in Fulham. But they said, right, we'll call ourselves Fulham FC. That had been taken. Fulham obviously already existed. They said, right, we'll call ourselves London Football Club. But Tottenham, Arsenal, West Ham weren't very happy about that. They said, we're London teams as well. They said, all right then, we'll call ourselves one of the other boroughs nearby. There's Kensington on one side and Chelsea on the other side. So how do you think they chose between Kensington and Chelsea? How do you think they chose?
Which side most people from?
Yeah, good try. No, they didn't do it by that. It wasn't as clever as that, yeah? No, Kensington wasn't already saying. They could have called ourselves Kensington. How do you think they decided, yes? Chelsea is short, that's not the reason. It's very simple. They went to the pub and they tossed a coin. That's how they did it, alright, honestly. And they tossed a coin and it came down on Chelsea's side, which is fantastic, because now we're known as Chelsea Football Club, the famous CFC. Because if we were Kensington Football Club, we'd be the famous KFC. So we're very, very glad it's Chelsea, not Kensington. Okay? Yeah, and since then, the stadium, like I said, in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, the stadium was huge. You see all standing, you see a fantastic atmosphere. Okay? One of the main problems was because there was a greyhound track around the pitch, the fans were so far away from the pitch, often it was hard to get a really fantastic atmosphere. Our biggest attendance was in the 1930s, a game against Arsenal. Okay, 82,000 people, which was the biggest at the time in England. It's actually the second highest ever. Man City overtook that record a few years afterwards. But we reckon at Chelsea we've had a bigger attendance than that. It was just counted wrong, okay? I'll tell you quickly. In 1945, World War II had just finished, yeah? And during the war, for 6 years, there hadn't been much high-quality football, especially in London. And so they decided to mark the end of the war, a special one-off game between a British team, to be Chelsea, and a Russian team, who are our allies during the war, so that would be Dynamo Moscow. And they played here at Stamford Bridge. So it was on a Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock kick-off. That's a rubbish time for a football game, Tuesday at 2 in the afternoon. Everyone will be at work, okay? But it seems that everybody in London bunked off work that day or bunked off school. By 12 o'clock midday, the stadium was full, 82,000, and Chelsea closed the gates, and said nobody else allowed in. But there were thousands and thousands outside, and the police said to Chelsea, you're going to have to open the gates, or else you're going to have a stampede or a riot, okay? So Chelsea said, alright, let's open the gates, everyone could come in. They didn't put through the turnstile, they didn't sell tickets, anyone can come in. And if you look at photos of that game back in the museum, you'll see that people are sat along the roof of the stand, okay? Obviously it wasn't as high as this, but they managed to climb up onto the top, sat on trees overlooking the pitch, okay? Children were passed over the heads of the adults, and they were sat literally along the goal line, okay, along the touchline, several rows deep, okay? And the police have estimated there was 120,000 inside Stamford Bridge that day, which would be an all-time English record, 120,000. But obviously, because we didn't sell tickets to everyone or put through the turnstiles, we can't give an official figure, so we can't hold the record, but that would be the highest. Okay? Actually, about that game, Chelsea winning 3-2 against the Russians, and it got to full time. And you know at Old Trafford, where Man United are losing at home, you know the referee seems to play loads and loads of injury time for Man United to score, yeah? It was a bit like that. The referee, he was actually ex in the army, he was an ex-colonel in the army. And he played, after 10 minutes of injury time, everyone was thinking, what is going on? The crowd started wondering what was going on. The Russians had a shot, and it missed the goal. It went to the kids beside the goal, and they threw it back onto the pitch, just for a goal kick, okay? They said, when is the referee going to blow the full-time whistle? And the Russians took the ball and scored, when it was supposed to be a goal kick. And the referee gave the goal, so it was 3-3, there wouldn't be another world war, okay? That was the idea. So it actually ended 3-3 that game. Since then, the stadium's been through a few redevelopments, obviously, because it had to become an all-seater stadium. In 1970, Chelsea won the FA Cup against Leeds. 1971, we won the Cup Winners' Cup against Real Madrid. They signed a new team, fantastic new team, needs a fantastic new stadium. And so they decided to build the East Stand, that one over there. That was built in the 1970s. You'll see it's a fantastic stand. The idea was that the whole stadium would be like that, 50,000 all-seater. But unfortunately, it cost a lot more than Chelsea were expecting. They set aside £1.5 million to build it, and it ended up costing near £5 million, okay? And although that stadium, actually, you might not believe it, they actually won prizes, because it was the first stadium in Europe to be built without pillars to support it, without columns to hold it up. But they actually really bankrupted Chelsea. We couldn't afford to lose £3.5 million. We had to start selling our best players, okay? When that happened, you start to lose matches. Chelsea actually got relegated, and for a long time they struggled in the second division. It was only in the 1990s that the building project would go ahead again. Okay, Chelsea had to stop the building project after that one. The next stand to be rebuilt was the North Stand over there. A man called Matthew Harding lent us £5 million to build it. Unfortunately, he died in a helicopter crash. He was our vice chairman. He died in a helicopter crash soon after it finished, on the way back from an away game at Bolton. So in his honour, they named the stand after him. So that's now the Matthew Harding stand. The next stand is the Shed End, that's being redeveloped. While this is being rebuilt, all of the die-hard fans who traditionally sat here, or stood here, moved to the Matthew Harding stand, and they stayed there now, okay? So that's now where the loudest atmosphere comes from. My season ticket, you see the number 11 at the bottom? Right near there, okay? So leading the singing and the chanting, getting a good atmosphere at Chelsea. And now actually the Shed End, the atmosphere is getting much better here. And it's fantastic because you get songs from here, songs from that end, and especially at the beginning of the season there was a fantastic atmosphere, okay? Finally, the West Stand over there cost £35 million, finished in 2001, yet it cost even more than Andrei Shevchenko, that stand, okay? The reason why it's so expensive is where all the corporate fans sit. I told you Abramovich's boxes there, those other boxes, they cost £1 million to rent per season, okay? But you do get your own waitress and chef on match day, so there you go. But you have to buy them for a minimum of 10 years at a time, okay? So if any of you are interested afterwards, come and see me, we'll try and sort one out for you, okay? They're very expensive, and that's why the stand costs so much. And like I said, that was finished in 2001, and since then the only bit of Stamford Bridge to change was Abramovich's box. Okay, does anyone have any questions about the stadium or anything?
How much seats are there now?
How much do the seats cost?
No, how much seats?
How many are there? Good various, I should have said that, yeah. 42,055. It's not the highest in England, it's not even as high as Arsenal, Man United. Some people say it's about 5th or 6th biggest in the Premiership. I think Sunderland, now they've come up, have pushed us down one spot. Some people say, Chelsea, you sell out every game. Every single game you sell out. Why don't you make a bigger stadium, okay? And the reason is we're not actually allowed to. The police banned us because when you came into Estadio Bridge, you came off Fulham Road, yeah? It's the only way in. There's only one side, there's a road. On the other side there's a cemetery, the other side there's a railway line, the other side there's listed buildings. There's only one way out of the ground. Now, if in the case of an emergency we had to evacuate the stadium, okay, say we had to pull over, there was a fire or something, that road physically wouldn't be able to have more than 42,000 people on it to be able to evacuate it. And for that reason, we're not allowed to expand the stadium. And we're definitely not going to move anywhere, I think, in the next foreseeable future. Not like Arsenal, they jump around stadiums, Man United have moved in the past, Chelsea have always been at Stamford Bridge. Okay, any other questions? There are 42,000, there's 27,000 season tickets, which was a problem because for the FA Cup final we were given 25,000 seats. So that was why there was a mad rush for tickets for that. So yeah, 27,000, so yeah. The league games, it's very hard to get tickets because of that. Anyone else? No? Okay, what we're going to do now is, at the end of the tour, we're going to take you back to the mega store, okay? And you can spend some time in there. If you keep your lanyard, keep these things, okay? You can go up the stairs the way you came in, go past the queue, and you can go straight into the museum and spend as long as you like in there, okay? And it's well worth having a look at. I think you've got your forms on the way in. If you give those back to the person on the way in, you get the chance to win a signed Chelsea shirt. We'll just let these people go through and then we'll go out.